Well, good evening, everyone. This is Keith with Positively Osceola. Yet another episode of our Coffee Club Live with Positively Osceola. How you doing, everybody? We got some beverages.
A little water.
A virtual plethora of beverages tonight here at the Coffee Club Live. So thanks for coming out, you guys, and we'll talk for a little bit and make sure everything's functioning and all that fun stuff. How's Marjorie? We'll start with you. How was your day?
It was great. Got a lot done, a lot of meetings. It was a great day. We've been working on a lot of things. The water issue. We're hoping that the rain stays away, and working on an upcoming city council meeting and a workshop.
Right. Yeah, I actually was kind of surprised it didn't rain where I was today. It was supposed to rain a bit heavy, but how you guys doing?
I'm doing good. I had a busy day. Did most of my work at the church. We had a COVID-19 drive-through testing site, and
Right.
I was surprised that quite a few people came through.
Interesting.
Yeah, I saw Jeremy Lanier out there today from the Department of Health.
Yep.
That guy's everywhere, man. He is everywhere for darn sure. Hey, so we got a few people popping in. Why don't we go ahead and we'll make it official, and then we'll start the thing. Here we go. So we press the right button. So I've had a number of people say that the only reason we do these things at night is so that I can actually rationalize having like nighttime coffee, but that is not true. I have coffee anyway. So that's the deal. Just feels right to have coffee at night. Not everybody can. I'm one of the fortunate ones. So I guess I would just open up by saying thanks for being here tonight. All of you, I'll introduce you. But thanks for being here, because I know, Bill and I, when the whole pandemic first arose, I know we were out in front of City Hall on, I think on the third floor in the balcony. We were kind of talking outside, and I remember saying, thanks for communicating what was going on with the city, and pandemic wasn't the only subject. You were dealing with some water issues and such, and I just said, hey, let's, we'll make ourselves available when you guys feel like you want to speak to the community more. We're here to do that, and so really cool that you guys would come out tonight. But let me introduce all of you. I guess ladies first. So kind of, if I can point the right direction. Yep, this thing's all backwards. The Director of Environmental Utilities. Is that the correct full title?
That is the full title. Thank you.
That would be Marjorie. That's Marjorie Craig. We appreciate you coming tonight very much.
Glad to be here.
And then directly above her is the City Manager of the City of St. Cloud, Bill Sturgeon. Hello, sir.
Good evening, Keith.
Good to see you. Good to see you. And then, of course, Mayor Nathan Blackwell beneath me. Bang, bang. So a little miniature Brady Bunch-esque evening, of course, once again with these things. But we're making it work. So I guess who wants to lead off talking about, we're here predominantly, we're going to be talking about, the water quality in the city of St. Cloud and surrounding areas. And you guys have been busy. It's been an issue that's been, I know this gets confused by some people. This has been an issue that's been around for quite a while, and it dates before actually any of you guys were in the positions you're in now. Yet you're the ones that have dealt with the problem. So hats off to you for doing that. Doesn't always make it easy, for sure. And it's tougher even to communicate during a pandemic, but I think you've done a great job. So Bill, you want to kind of lead this?
Yeah, thank you, Keith. I just wanted to spend some time talking to you and to the public about how seriously we take our water situation and how, as a team, we've been able to address those issues. And I'm talking about a team from our citizens, our staff, our council, our mayor. They've been on top of this since they became elected. So I was appointed as interim city manager in July of 2017. And within several weeks, realized we had an issue with our water system and initiated an investigation, both from an operational perspective and an engineering perspective, and realized we had a serious problem. and we started fixing those problems right away. Some of those engineering designs take several years to design and build, and you'll see that we have a short video that we've created to explain really what happened in the city of St. Cloud over the last 3 years. What I'm fortunate to have, again, as the city manager, is a council that's been very supportive, and the leadership of our mayor. Additionally, I've got a great team. I have two of the best water people in the state that are working on this problem. Ms. Marjorie Craig, who's been with the city about 4 months, and Mr. Brian Wheeler, who spent many years with Toho Water Authority, and both are experts in water, and they've been able to really lead this effort and get this thing cleaned up. So I'm going to turn it over to Marjorie and let her say a few words. Marjorie.
Well, thank you, Bill. When I got here, I was made aware of the situation, and of course, I've also known Brian Wheeler for years. I was the Polk County Utilities Director, and I knew that there was an issue when I came in, and together with our entire city team and the consultants and contractors that we've contracted with, we've continued to clean the pipe. So, and looking back and researching what's been done to clean the coloration out of the water, it began, best I can tell, when you became the city manager and you directed staff to get with the manufacturer of the resin and to contract with experts to clean the water up, and that was what was done. So to date, we have been cleaning pipe in at least using three different techniques. Flushing through fire hydrants. And there's also something called unidirectional flushing, which is a real systematic way of pushing the water out through the pipe in a particular direction that gives you better flow and removal of the resin or anything that's in the pipe itself. So the second, we did that 4 times over from 2018, 2019, and we still were seeing some coloration. And so we listened to the customers and we brought in the ice system, and we did that. And we also brought in the line swabbing. So in addition, we found the polishing filters had failed, and so we started a design, and those were installed in 2019, at the end of 2019. So the city has worked tirelessly to fix the problems and clean the pipe, and we're going to continue until all of the resin is out of the system. So if you experience any coloration in your water, please contact us. We have the number of calls about the color have greatly reduced. But we really want to go for like no calls about that. So last week, I'm looking at the chart. It looks like we had about 3 over the last week. And so that's reduced from a high point of about 60 in 1 week. So we want to continue and get that, get all the resin out of the water and make it clean. That's the directive of the city manager when I came on board, and the directive of the mayor and the leadership, the current city council. Appreciate your support.
You know, we were when the pandemic first happened, I know Bill asked us if we would. I think that was one time you said you let us know that where the ice picking was going to be taking place, and so we headed over that way, and we got permission to be around when that was happening. I was amazed at how much of an effect it has on and removing that resin, and that's I think that's what hits me is that's one of the challenges you have, really, to be honest with you. These forums, and anytime you can try to communicate to the public, it's great. The citizens want to know, but because they're typically the citizens aren't going to be able to go, in general numbers. You're not going to be able to go to where that ice picking's happening or the swabbing's happening. Those things, they're not going to get to see that. Now, we saw it, and we try to communicate it as best we could. In reality, it's shockingly excellent. In comparison, it was. But to show that, you have to really, You have to be able to see that almost firsthand to understand that what you're doing was working, and the enormity of the amount of piping you were having to deal with. And then, like we kind of said earlier, the challenge on top of all of that was then you have a pandemic, which, you know, basically took over everything as far as communication, which makes sense. So, you know, you're still working through this, and then you can't show people what you're doing. So, you know, water's a personal thing, right? I mean, it's a health issue, it's a public safety issue. So, you know, it's certainly warranted that people were, you know, upset and looking for answers. I think that's normal. But what I'm hearing you say, Marjorie, is, and we'll go to Nathan after this, what I heard, what you were saying was, without people saying something, you might not know where the problems are. So it's a good thing that people were speaking up and saying, hey, my water's got issues right now. So that helped you, if I'm correct in hearing what you said.
Absolutely. And if you can call us and let us know that you're experiencing the problem, we're on it. That's how we figure out where we're going to systematically clean the next area of piping. It's a very important part.
Awesome. So Nathan, why don't you kind of kick in your piece in this? I know you got to be the mayor with a water scenario, but I've known you for a long time. You're a strong leader, so you know, I think you were probably the right person to be in that position when it took place. So why don't you tell us from your perspective what you saw happen?
Well, most people don't realize how complex this situation is and how much time and money that it has taken to correct the problem. You know, when I first came on the council, we began getting all these complaints coming in with greater frequency about colored water. And, you know, there was just a number of issues, but when we finally found out what the basic problem was, you know, that much of it revolved around a polisher, a filtering system that needed to be replaced, that they had tried to weld an aluminum system that had to be replaced. It took over a year just to fabricate a new polisher. That's how large and how big and complicated it was, over $1.25 million just to replace that. And it isn't something that was put on a back burner. There was no hesitation. I mean, the city manager and the staff, they rolled up their sleeves right away, began to address all of the issues about, did they need to make changes with the staff that worked in that department? Whatever the expense was, it didn't matter. You know, water is essential. You can live without a lot of things. You could technically live without fire protection. You could technically live without police protection, but you can't live without water. Water is just an absolute essential. And, you know, the city and the staff has just worked overtime to keep this on the front burner. But, you know, we've tried to communicate. You know, COVID has certainly been a challenge. It kind of reminds me when I announce things at my church. I'll have some big event. You know, I'll announce it from the stage multiple times. We'll put it in the bulletin. We'll put it on our Facebook account. We'll even put something on our website. And then we'll announce it week after week and provide inserts. And then people will come up and say, well, I didn't know you were doing this. It's, you know, you just have to communicate. We've tried to do that with the city. You know, we haven't tried to hide anything. Nothing's been swept under the rug. I mean, they've been totally transparent. But you know, we are committed to solving this problem. We believe, you know, we have the solution. We've got the answer. Now the final thing is, you know, cleaning out all the lines. And you know, you have a problem. You know, lines, they develop corrosion anyway from iron and, you know, other mineral deposits that normally collect in a line. Then you add to that the resin that was leaking through the faulty polisher that we had. And you had a really big problem. But I'm so glad that, you know, the staff has, in many days, have worked around the clock to fix the problem. The plant has been repaired, the polisher replaced, the lines are being cleaned out, and they'll continue to be cleaned out until we get every bit of resin and mineral deposits that normally collect in lines completely cleaned out, because, you know, water is absolutely essential. And this is a major priority that the city staff and the council itself have been committed to getting done.
I think it'd be a good time to show the video, Keith.
Yeah.
Sure. See if I can make everything happen here on the planet Earth. Here we go. Should be fine.
The city of St. Cloud had a state-of-the-art, internationally recognized water treatment system. So, when the calls first came in, the city wasn't sure what to make of them. Customers said their drinking water was discolored, usually a light red or brownish. They were told to flush their systems and told how to do it, but the problem didn't go away. Briefed on the issue, the newly elected city council ordered an investigation. They hired a new city manager and made the issue a priority. The investigation began, experts were hired, staff were fired, and leaders were told how it happened. It was two things. A part of the water treatment system had failed, and a manufacturer of the resin used in the water treatment process changed it without letting the city know. It took a year to design, build, and install a new water filter system. That was completed on time last year. The experts recommended the city begin a system-wide flushing program to remove any resin that might still be in the pipes. It was immediately approved by the city council, and the city manager initiated the program. Though there was improvement, the water was still not clear. Staff was directed to urgently search for technologies to fix it. Still, St. Cloud's water met all state and federal drinking water standards. Staff used proven and new technologies to clean the inside of the water delivery pipes. And things got much better, much faster. The city and the customers were a partnership that worked, even through the lockdown and the pandemic threat. We're still working through some areas that have occasional discoloration. We'll continue to work on it until all of the water is all clear always.
Well done. That kind of echoes what Marjorie said, that you're not going to be happy until there's absolutely not one resident, one customer that has a problem, which I think is correct.
That's actually absolutely right. And what you said before about the COVID and the pandemic, even though people were quarantined, our staff were still out there cleaning that pipe, even when you can't see them. The ice picking, we were able to do a lot of that during the day, but the line swabbing, we were not. We conducted the ice picking for about 81 days this year. And we just recently completed almost 11 miles of line swabbing. And it was all done at night. I was out there almost the entire time, all night long. It's something to see. Staff works with the contractor, and they care. They care. They want the water clean, and we won't stop till it's clean.
So we must have had, we must have had hundreds of people direct message us at Positively Osceola, just asking us, can we connect to the city? It was during the pandemic and was free. I just said, reach out to them directly. They want to hear they want to know what you're seeing. They can't be everywhere. Back to what we said before. So where do we go from here? So how do the customers, how do the residents? I know you said we'll make sure the phone number is on the text portion of this post. But how do people go from here? How do you go forward now? Because this takes a little bit of the naivety away from water. I think it's an expectation we have, and then suddenly you're jarred of it. So how do you go forward from here?
So as I mentioned, we just completed about 2 weeks of line swabbing, and that was what we do is we target a particular area based on those customer calls, based on our fire hydrant flushing, our unidirectional flushing, and field testing. And then we focus in on those areas, and then we flush. So that's why it is so critical that you call in having discoloration in your water. So we listen too. So at first, technical folks, field folks, a lot of times we're busy getting the work done, and we're not necessarily communicating what we're doing out there as well as we can. So and we put signs out now if we're flushing, and we send out surveys after we've conducted the flushing. A couple of weeks later. So within another week or so, those folks that were in the area that was most recently flushed, which was Brown Chapel Road, the Commerce area, they'll be receiving the surveys. And it's important that you fill it out, and it asks questions like, did you experience the problem before? Are you still experiencing it? Have you suddenly, again, though, if you have a complaint, if you have something going on, call our customer service line, and that's 407-957-7344, because we want to hear, and we want to clean the pipe until it's right. It's all clear.
Well said. I got a message earlier from Mary Emma Batchelder, Director of Communications, and I think she said something about you put together a new website or a new web page so you could communicate with people status of the water. So what I can probably look for that real quick. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that, Bill?
If I could, yes. So one of the things that we experienced, like Marjorie said, is we had our heads down working. We weren't telling the public what we were doing, what we were accomplishing. And there was a lot of misinformation. You know how social media works. That's the world you live in. A lot of misinformation. And so we wanted to correct the record, make sure we had the facts out there. So we've created a website, and we'll give you the website address. And that's where you can go find factual information that goes everything from how we provide you water from the aquifer all the way through the delivery system to what happened with this situation. It's got pictures and diagrams, talks about the actions we've taken. It's called St. Cloud Water Matters, and we want people to go to that. That will go live as soon as this Positively Osceola section's over with tonight.
Gotcha. And so that web address is, like I said, Mary Emma sent some things to me earlier to communicate, and that is ourcommunitywater.com.
That's it.
We'll put that in the I'll put that in the feed as well, so people can take a look at that. So you really are making it so that we can keep updated on what you guys are doing. So anything else you want to share that the public should know about? Anything that that you feel is pertinent to what we're talking about?
Well, I personally would just like to express a word of appreciation to our city staff and our city manager, and to Marjorie. They have stayed on top of this. It has been a priority. It will continue to be a priority until it's completely and totally resolved. And it's like we're seeing some light at the end of the tunnel now. But they have worked diligently. They've responded to every call that I know that has come. Everyone that's been referred to me, they've gotten right on and responded to. And I just want to say thank you to our staff. I also want to say thank you to our residents. I know this has been a challenging issue for many of you, especially those of you that had to deal with, the discolored water. We certainly want this resolved. We live in the city. I live in the city. My grandchildren live in the city, or some of them, and most, all the council members live in the city. We want this issue resolved, not just for our sake, but because we care about the residents, and we want you to have good, clean, healthy water. And that is certainly what we are providing now. And I just want to thank all of the residents who have been patient, who have been understanding. Thank you for your patience. We just ask that you continue to do that. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to call any of the council members, or certainly anyone on staff.
Well said. And I'll make sure to add all of that information that you guys brought up today. I'll make sure we get that in the post, like I said. And of course, I got our little shameless plug there running through the bottom. I probably shouldn't take that one off. Yeah, you got to keep it real, right? I said this, Nathan, when we were talking the other night, and I kind of almost opened with it, but I mean, I think it is easy. I guess that's the right way to put it. I think it's easy to talk about issues like this and continue to talk about them, slightly address them, and let that be somebody else's challenge that, as a year or two or four come and go. I just haven't seen you guys do that. And I watched. Like I said, I understand fully why people got tense about the whole scenario. Again, I'm being repetitive, but we have a pandemic and it makes it challenging, and everybody's a tad bit screwed up anyway because we're all sitting there watching Netflix 23.5 hours a day, and then there's a water problem. So I think you did the right deal. I think you got the right staff in place. Marjorie's experience, Brian Wheeler for sure. You two guys nailing it. I think Bill and the rest of the council did a great job. It certainly was uncomfortable for a while because people just, it's a personal issue and a health issue. But I think you like I said earlier, you did not kick the can down the road. You took it on, and I know it's not 100% yet. You still got some things that you're working on, like you said, and you're willing to do that. But I think you did the right thing. Big challenge for sure. And so it seems like you're on the right side of the deal now. Anything else you guys like to share before we call it a night?
I just want to thank you, Keith, for letting us come on tonight and just give an update, provide new information. And like I said, please reach out to us if you have a concern or a question, or you hopefully don't get any discolored water. But if you do, give us a shout. We'll get somebody out right away.
Gotcha. Very cool.
And I just want to say thank you also, Keith, and thank you for the impact of Positivity Osceola helping us communicate what this situation is. And thank you so much for tackling it with us.
Yeah, we're glad to help you. We said we would. Seems like about a year ago, Bill, but it hasn't been quite that long. We talked about it on that balcony. So anyway, so thanks for coming on and doing this, and surely appreciate it. So I guess we'll call it a night. Again, this is Keith with Positively Osceola, along with City of St. Cloud City Manager Bill Sturgeon, City of St. Cloud Mayor Nathan Blackwell, and City of St. Cloud Environmental Utility Director Marjorie Craig. That is a cool title. It's like the bomb title right there. We appreciate you guys. All right, have a great night.
Good night.
All right.
Have a good night.
We're making a positive difference in and around Osceola County. Have a good night, everybody.